Yeah, it doesn't have to really be a big thing either, like emotionally, whatever. Just having a discussion about the game we just played.
And in terms of when I'm looking at the mentality of you guys, even when you guys lost that game, right? I know it was very close, but you didn't seem as frustrated as in the past as well. Do you think there has been a change and a shift like that?
Yeah, I think that game specifically, like we knew we could have won versus like other games we played in the past. So I think with Hallsberg, yeah, it could definitely be different. Just we need to play more games, and we can tell.
And you're going up against Navi now again, right? You've got to run it back. And we just saw a bit more of an in-force Navi for sure. But I guess the confidence is still high. You already kind of outgamed them one time around by changing it up. So you feeling full confidence now?
Yeah, I think especially because they're not playing with Simple. Like you gotta mention that. Like that guy's a beast. But I think Hetrick's definitely a really good replacement for him for now. In terms of the operable, he fits right in. So I think like yeah, we can definitely compete with this Navi.
But it's interesting what you said there, right? Obviously, it's Simple, he is a beast. But do you sometimes go into a server, maybe do players go into a server, and you know he's there so you don't do things that you've just done in the other game?
No, I mean, I think that's kind of bad to think about it like that, but you still got to like do what you normally do, but I think Simple will just capitalize way better on certain mistakes other teams make, so it's just something to look out for. He's like the X Factor. Essentially, he's the X Factor.
Well, hopefully you guys can get it done again, but what do you think this time around in terms of the map pool? Have you done the veto yet?
We're not, well, as of right now, I don't know the veto, but we know what it could be between 3 different maps, so we're pretty confident what it's going to be.
Do you think it could be Nuke? Because obviously they banned it out last time, and I was actually thinking that was one that we picked.
It could definitely be Nuke, but I think because it's such a strat-heavy map, and so it's kind of hard for any team really to pull out as many shots as they can in such a short time period. So especially after a player break when teams are coming back, so it's a bit hard to play Nuke.
All right, we'll have to see how it goes. Floppy, best of luck, man. You've done it once already.
Well, we know the veto, Floppy, and we know it's going to overpass yet again. A rematch and a carbon copy. Well, maybe hopefully not for Navi's side of things, because they did struggle the last time they played 16-9 in only 2 rounds on that T side.
Yeah, talk about a show of intent for Navi to allowing overpass to go through again. I thought the first thing they would do is kick it out to the curb, play a different maps where they obviously have a stronger performance, as we have just in against G2. But Blade and Electronics say none of that. Absolutely not. We're going to play overpass again. We know how you beat us the first time around, and we have all we need to fix it on air.
It's a sign of the limitations that Navi will have with Hetrick as well. They said it coming into this tournament. He's a stand-in. He's not going to play with them next week, most likely. And the fact that they know they have 3 bans in every single game here, given the format, they probably haven't played more than 3, maybe 4 maps in total, right? So the fact that they leave Overpass in there again is a sign of, I guess, limitations to what they can choose. And also more so, you know, what we know Blade to be so strong at, adapting, right? They've lost once already today. They probably, as you said, figured out, okay, what didn't work, what went wrong, what can we do differently this time around? And that is one of the specialities of Navi. You never see them play a bad map twice in a row. At least that's what it feels like. Whether or not that has something to do with Simple or not, well, I guess we're about to see.
Yeah, of course, Blade and the gang have had a couple of hours to be sitting down, you know, reviewing what went wrong with that game earlier on. So, Maniac, what was it for you? What was kind of lacking from this Navi side? Because we were saying it was kind of I don't know, just uncharacteristically not the Navi style where they were taking many risks.
Right, I think they were a little bit too passive on their CT side. If you look back at the first half of their first confrontation, Complexity were able to win 6 out of 7 last round in the first half. We were talking full gun rounds. We're talking domination, right? But as you can see, I think Danny had a very great breakdown he brought us in the past where there was a lot of map control that was given away to Complexity, and now we were kind of reacting to what was going on. And I'm hoping that this is over. This is done with. Also, this is where the kind of place-by-place head trick to Simple really comes into play. On the A side, we know the space that Simple can take. We know the initiatives he brings to the table. Can we hope for head trick to do exactly the same? Might be a bit too early.
Keyword is space for me, because you're spot on, right? There's a reason why the T side on the overpass is so tough to play these days. The uppers out there are so good at taking away space. They're so good at shutting down the toilet area, shutting down A-long, shutting down basically everywhere they're going with the AWP. Do we really expect Hetrick to play the same brand of Counter-Strike that Simple is, you know, where you kind of put fear into your opponents, you're shutting down a certain part of the map and you're forcing the rest of the team to go to a different part of the map? That's not going to happen, right? We saw Complexity, the T-side on overpass last time around. As you said, it was strong, and I'm afraid we get to see it one more time here. Not because of Hetrick is a bad player. He's played a great tournament so far, just because he's not the same type of player as Simple.
Yeah, that was specifically what Mahone was breaking down earlier on, was just the strength of Complexity on that T-side, the aggressive moves they were taking, kind of like a 2-pronged attack to both sides of the map. So if we're continuing to talk about the strengths of that Complexity roster that we saw earlier, what are you hoping for them to be repeating? Same stuff, or hoping for a few new tricks?
Look, there is this philosophy in Counter-Strike in where you cannot win a map the same way twice.
Yeah.
And I would be very surprised if Navi lose to the same playstyle again and again. For example, Complexity kind of avoided Bit on their first half. We know Bit to play in that connected area a lot, and he's a multi-kill machine over there. He wasn't really tested too much. I'd be surprised if he don't see the light of day this time around. I think he's going to have much more impact. And if he doesn't see anyone, I'm hoping he's going to get out of his way to go for information, not just establish dominance, but just go for it really. Navi, they have a lot of tape now to work off of, and as Jacob was talking about, they're one of the best teams to know what they did wrong and what they have to do better now.
To me, it comes down to space. If they're giving Complexity all the space in the world, as we saw in the first game, I believe Complexity can win the game more or less in the same way. It's you know, I guess half the battle on the T side is just getting into the toilet area, getting into A long without dying one or two members of the squad. So for that to be said, you know, one of the things that was so strong about Navi on the CT side and the overpass, especially with Boomage as well, he was always out there on B short taking map control, Simple on A taking map control. So there was nowhere to be left for the opponents. This time around, though, I expect Navi again to be a little bit more defense, and perhaps that could be enough for Complexity to get all the space they need to and then win the game more or less in the same fashion. Because I agree with you, with Simple on the squad, they couldn't have done this twice.
Yeah, just to reiterate as well, this is crucial for both sides of the equation to be making it deeper into the gauntlet, which is next week. That is the best of 3 elimination matchups coming out later on, because if you lose one in that first set of games, you are out. You are moving to the depths of the showdown, which would be an incredible surprise to see like Navi there.
Correct. Whoever loses that game ends up in 3rd position for their group, and that means step 1 of the freaking gauntlet. We already had the bracket before. We saw that G2 was on the way to a Vitality clash as well down there. These are only great teams, right? There's not going to be an easy way back into the gauntlet. You win that series right here, and you avoid to have to win 3 best of 3s to make it to 4 finals.
Yeah, crucial for both sides of the equation to be coming into this one hot. We've already seen Overpass playing out earlier on today, and it was Complexity to take the W. Can Navi come back swinging? We're going to find out in just a few.
Welcome back, everybody. The rematch set to begin, and it's the purest rematch you could hope for. We've got Navi, we got Complexity, and they're going to go back and duke it out on Overpass. Now, the problem is if you poke a bear in the eye and then the bear comes back, it's going to remember exactly who you are. So if you're Complexity, you've already poked Navi in the face, and now you're about to get torn to pieces. That's what I think's about to happen.
Okay, like Leonardo DiCaprio. DiCaprio? Yeah, DiCaprio.
Well, never did win an
We'll
Oscar.
see. I think the thing is, the first map, there's a specific thing, and that was that in the first half, there were, I think, like 4 clutches.
Yep.
That I remember that Complexity won, kind of just over and over again. And then the other thing that I feel like is also not going to repeat is that Electronic had a really rough map. Such a better map this time, and before the break was in peak form. So I kind of feel like that's not going to happen again. I think Navi have every right to take this to Overpass again, and it feels like a good pick for them. So we'll see if Complexity can prove that they can really beat down Navi and do it twice.
Yeah, shake it off. You know, you got battered, stand up, whop them. We'll see. Complexity to the T side, already very quickly through the short water. They're going to hit this B site. They got nobody to their left. It's 2 players in Perfecto and Electronic down here on Monster. And, ooh, Electronic quite blind. Catches JT at the very least, but we're looking at a 4-player post plant comfortably for Complexity. Bit and head trick coming around from Graffiti already. But what can they see? What can they find? Nobody seems to be showing face at the moment for Complexity because they put that bomb down, and now they just need to hang on. Jump spot elicits a couple peeks. Now, they saw Floppy peek from default, and Grim just shot a bullet. That's 3 players' positions confirmed. Now you just got to kill them. That's the hard part. They decide to swarm towards head trick. Knives out. And Fang will finish what Grim starts.
He didn't let him get it.
How dare you, Fang?
Oh, he was out of bullets too. That's $1,500, man. You know that can make a difference. Even do it for the money. But hey, that's gotta feel good. Simple just tweeted out that he had a call with the boys and he called a pistol strat for them.
Okay.
I'm gonna assume it was a T-side pistol strat, so we'll see in the second half. But maybe we can name the strat Simple. You know,
We'll keep an eye on it.
yeah, we'll see if it's.
Damn, he's calling from abroad.
He's calling from abroad. Yeah,
Simple
It's
as-
a phone a friend.
Truly is omnipresent.
Yeah. That was good though. Vicious attack.
Yeah, they knew what they wanted.
Yes.
They got it. That flashbang as well just completely deletes any chance that Electronic really had. Still manages 1, but it's just blind fire with the Berettas. Grim would have had more than a MAC-10 had he been allowed to second knife. But he'll let that go. And die inside that smoke. JT tries to take the place of the front runner. Both the MAC-10s down with nothing. The 5-7 of Electronic, 2 kills. 5-7 of SDY, 1.
Oof, and they had no one coming up late long, so look at Fang, right? He's stuck holding this and hoping that someone peeks him.
God, what a tough spot.
Teammate in the back. Oh, man, I mean, obviously going A is just going to be pretty hard. Electron doesn't have to move. He's got a teammate beside him.
Scout shot even connects. Fang, 1 kill up close. That's it. Navi just absolutely whomped him.
Yes, they created the concave around, like a setup around the back of Dice and Optimus and Long. And, you know, if there was no one Long, it's a whole lot easier. But with the amount of time left on the clock, of course, Complexity could have tried to get control of that area, come in late, but they just had no odds when it came down to 2 players. Nice shots, though, being hit from Navi.
Hey, man, you highlighted it right before this one went live, right? The individual level of Electronic, stark improvement from map 1 to map 2. He just shredded 2 heads inside that bomb site.
Yeah.
MP9 from Bit. Nice second kill. Finds Hauser on the fallback. Goes back at it for Floppy. So 3 MP9 kills, nice and easy for Bit. This force buy nets them absolutely nothing. Not a single point of damage done. Grim, full-fledged 1v5.
And no damage. Yeah, no damage done this round. With some attempts. Bit will be pivotal. He's going to try to take control of Khan a lot of the rounds. He'll get tons of action. And he also, I don't think he actually went positive on Mirage versus G2, but I thought aim-wise, And maybe we had some favorable spectating going on because I feel like whenever Prius is watching him, he was getting a nuts
Prius,
frag. Yeah.
Prius bias.
And Prius likes Bit. Prius and Bit heart. Yeah. You can tell.
Bit tucks into the connector. Fang said after the win over Navi earlier today that, you know, a win versus Navi is still a win versus Navi. No asterisks, no matter what. And he's got a valid point. But then the fact that they get to replay the exact same map in the exact same day could definitely take some of the, you know, legitimacy out of that one.
Yeah.
Especially in the fashion, right?
I think you did misquote him a little. He didn't say no asterisk no matter what, right?
I did add.
You did
yeah,
add.
I made that part up.
That's important to, yeah.
But the gist of it was, of course, you know, it's still going to do most good. It's just nice to get a result out of the gate.
No, yeah, he had a point there, man. It's still better than some of the teams that he's lost to, you know, in these past few months. It's not been a good run for Complexity recently. So, yeah, it was worth being proud of. Absolutely. And as we've seen already from this last map with Head Trick, I mean, he's been awesome. And I think the coolest part is that, like, he's just playing his style. And we've watched him play for seasons on Navi Junior, and he's playing a lot like he does there, which I didn't think, you know, I thought he would try to alter a little bit, change things up, maybe fall to the pressure, but he hasn't really.
Between now Bit, Monacy, and Head Trick, right? I brought that point up earlier where Navi and G2, there's 3 players from the Academy League, but that's not just 3 players from the Academy League. That's 3 players from Navi Junior specifically. Very good scouting process going on. One of the organizations that says, you know, Blade actually has his eyes on both rosters, and I see why. He's feeding them right into the main lineup and proving their worths. Turns out Blade knows a good CS player when he sees one, but that's an excellent grenade bouncing off at the side of short. Poor JT down to 51 before he sees a thing. Flash behind the wood.
Hey, not too shabby. Oh, shot missed here from Head Trick, holding for the stairs peak. One comes out right below it. He's got some help behind him. Interesting, because they don't actually have to move in this position, and they might just think they're hunting down an Opper, but they're not.
Bit keeps it nice and clean versus Grim. There's the connection from Head Trick, so his op finds.
That was cool. I mean, you know, they had to understand that they still had a really good position, even though they didn't have cover behind them. Wow, what a peek. Head Trick is not holding wide at all. Just a pixel. And
Hang now.
Floppy doesn't give him anything.
Didn't see the player back truck. Oh, but he turns it. And there's Perfecto peeking out from Banks, so we've got a floppy clutch in the cards. Perfecto already on the Banks dumpster. Oh, what? Floppy sees that one coming, cuts it down to just him versus SDY. Didn't catch him on that cross. Little jiggles. Pixel peeks. He gets the duel he wants, but lesser health, and Some Die Young sticks the landing, denies Floppy his clutch.
Down. A nice try. You know, this man has made a magic sometimes with his clutch rounds, and overall did a lot of work here, actually, before the clutch even took place. So nearly the 4 frags. Calls up Perfecto, top of the bin, but SDY deals with it.
Всегда играйте на размен парни, когда вы вдвоем.
That was an interesting keyboard that Electronic has.
It almost looked like a membrane keyboard.
Yes, it looks like an old office keyboard,
Nice
right?
little
Whoa. Oh,
damn
man.
Windows.
Round started. We can't comment on that anymore.
It's gone.
Off limits.
So 4 straight from Navi off of losing pistol.
You know, there are still some top KZ players that still use membrane keyboards. Wow.
It's because KZ doesn't pay the bills.
Yeah, they need a sponsor.
Well, I thought maybe a foot would be spotted, but no, JT gets away with all 4 limbs, all 10 toes.
I like this call from JT. I mean, they're clearly going to set up for a full B exec in a second, but they're making sure to hold on to their default at the same time. So the walkout starts to take place. It's moving at a pretty good tempo, but the flash comes up from Perfecto, and he does a lot of damage.
Very nice indeed. Electronic sliding by, finishing what Perfecto got started. A ton of damage from Perfecto. Good supporting flash from SDY off Graffiti. And that's what they've been doing now back-to-back rounds, right? Last time it's the double peak from Electronic and Perfecto into short. This time they just do it deeper over on Monster. Both times they call out where Complexity are in fact stacking. Bit nicely timed flank, but he doesn't finish Fang. Grim hits the dirt, 10 health in the 1v2, and not fast enough to stop Navi from finding themselves on fire.
Yeah, well, yeah, nice timed flank right there. Some good attempts. The walkout was interesting. I don't think there was flash support behind it from the T side, and the CT's clued into it. As soon as their smoke came up, they gave him a second, let him get comfortable, and it looked like they were about to turn that corner, but Navi were clued in. 5 straight on fire. Back to pistols here for Complexity.
Ooh, timing there almost for Grim, but he runs right into the nade.
That was an and one right there.
Yeah, out. Alley-oops himself.
Will he hit the flick? The diagonal flick upwards when the head pops up.
Nope, never even sees it coming.
Someone dies in this story.
Bit trying to control that off. Good idea.
Fang has played nuts today. He's been getting a lot of great kills. And even a couple moments in this half so far where it's like, oh, great flank on him. Good awareness. And then he turns around. He's ready. Twist, Nafly, Fang. That's all I'm going to say.
Quick answer from Perfecto. They tried to press up close, but Perfecto cuts it down very easily. Follows through. Fang, nothing further after that one. So Navi get past the Desert Eagles and the Tech Nines, and despite Fang's best efforts from long, as the 3rd best Canadian player.
Yeah. I mean, who else is on the short list? I mean,
Hexed. He's up next.
True, Hex is up next.
I mean, we haven't seen him play in Europe. We haven't seen him play at Blast yet, but
yeah, there's the hashtag.
Hexed is next. Evil Geniuses.
I made a deal with him. That
Hexed?
Yeah, because he said, follow me back. I don't know if he sounds like that. I said, if you win a series at Blast, I'll follow you back.
That's fair.
Yeah.
A series, including best of ones, right?
Oh, shoot. Yeah, fine. I mean, it's not going to be easy. A lot of good teams here.
We would know what he sounded like if he'd sign up for some content, but he made Cirque do it all this morning.
Yeah.
So, got my eyes on you, Hexed.
He's a one trick. He's only good at CS. Wow.
Here we go.
It's been a few minutes since Complexity have won a round. See if they can turn that around.
It's rounded out by. They get past the deep molly quick. But Connector, dangerous game to play there, Grim.
They've got Bit, though. He's kind of activated now. And Head Trick is still holding this. He falls back, but Bit doesn't need a babysitter.
It's so clean. Now he does turn his attention away from Grim as Head Trick falls back a bit. So he gets left on his own. Not quite able to skate around that corner fast enough. Still, man advantage secured thanks to Bit and some very quick rifle work. Here's the off shot from Head Trick. Misses the mark. JT, with the double of his own. Channels his inner Bit. And JT, known for his entries, goes hard into this A site. Electronic, he's got a gap to work with. JT stranded at the moment. Floppy slowly creeping in from this long B flank. And he's gonna time it properly, so it seems. A little bit of space here as Electronic extends outwards, and it's Grim to end it all. So 2 kills to Grim, 2 kills to JT. Complexity find their second win.
Yeah, I think it was actually 3 for Grim and 2 for JT right there.
Ooh.
Well done. Yeah, they look sharp. I mean, JT can shoot like that. I mean, they've got really no issues. Beautiful. Hetrick did miss a little bit this round. It's noted. It will be noted. He's had enough success. I feel like it's fine to point that out. Look at that keyboard.
It's just so flat.
It's so flat. Is he playing on a membrane keyboard? He's also a 1.6 movement player.
But also,
it's entirely
I feel like
possible.
nowadays you can get like membrane-style looking mechanical keyboards.
No, what I meant by that is not that movement players are poor. It's that they actually prefer membrane keyboards.
Okay.
Yeah, and Electronic isn't poor.
No, it's not.
So it could be preference. We're not poor, okay?
I prefer the term frugal.
We just don't shower.
That's why they gave us rivers. A little bit of damage there. Fang doesn't give a damn. It's fast past the flames. Much heavier presence from Navi down on this B site. And it's not just going to sit back on the other end of these tunnels. Electronic already starting to pry into short. But because of that forward presence from Bit, and with Headtrick inside a connector last round, looks like Complexity have been conditioned to take this one slow. They drop the smokes, and they crawl their way towards bathrooms as Bit backs up.
He heard you.
Smoke's about to fade.
So what do you mean, I back up?
Yeah, I go where?
Yeah.
Cuts down JT, so he won't be able to add another multi-kill to the tally, not this round.
Can't find him.
Potentially going to throw Fang up onto the flower pots again.
They're kind of chilling, right? 50-second mark, no one to rescue from the bathrooms. Rifler safely back on site. Rotations are all fine. Very tough situation here for Complexity. Floppy's in an interesting spot, but his team isn't close to him. This is that beautiful setup we saw in the last rounds.
Oh, but he's turning around.
Great
Bit
trade
comes in.
potential, yeah.
34 health left over, though, and he's pinched. Stuck between the long peak and that last bathroom's player, Perfecto. He's inside sight. Bank player doesn't see him, and he controls the spray. With so few bullets left, he gets that second kill to Fang, and that just sucks the life straight out of Complexity because Floppy's trying another one of those cheeky B to A flanks. No time for him to recover this one. Perfecto lets Fang go by, stops bomb, ends it all for Complexity.
Yeah, hard for Complexity to read. A third rifler would have been there at that moment. Normally, you have the double rifle setup in the bathrooms, maybe an off at bank watching long. They didn't see that. I'm not surprised they don't fully clear the truck in that situation, but this is Perfecto's golden ticket, and he will not let this slip, so really well done. The trade was possible, and then Floppy's flank actually could have been impactful, but not going to be the case today. Really nice moves from Bit, though, man.
Yep.
This has been a clinic from him. 14-5 already.
Damn. 9 rounds deep. Picking up the slack in Simple's absence.
Yeah. Some of the best riflers of all time play this position, you know, controlling con, pushing up towards stairs. It used to be Electronic, now it's Bit. Used to be Fur, it used to be Rain. Hungry riflers.
Nice turn back. Perfecto commits to the spray. Only finding the one. Fang, third man in, trades it out. SDY's back, stuck inside Graffiti. Electronic burned away into short, so that for a moment stopped Fang, but he just died with bomb inside the water. Bit keeps it quick. A second, perhaps. No, JT can't finish that one. And with SDY being able to tuck back into cover, suddenly JT feels surrounded, and he is. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Navi continue to rack up round wins.
They've figured something out. These impeccable timings on the monster swings over and over again. And it doesn't feel like a Complexity being incredibly obvious, but they are just checking it at the right time. They hear this flash, and they already have 2 here, which is the problem to begin with. You try not to come out of monster if you think they're, you know, in this 2-player setup. But we've already seen Navi, first of all, they had 3 players on A the last round. Now the double monster set up 2 times in a row. They have a good feeling for what Complexity want to try to do. Another tactic call. And it's a situation where, you know, Bit's walking around the bathrooms with no help, but getting multi-frags. You can't just leave that part of the map. You do have to try to push him back. That should be the easier part of the round. Easier said than done, of course. There's a lot of good fights for him to take, but they can't just pretend like A doesn't exist just because he's playing well. More on that next round, though. Just going to try to pull out an eco here.
Floppy tagged.
Ooh, it looks like they are game planning back to work. He's going to set a record if they keep doing this.
Comfortable lean back from Navi this time. Complexity going to be checking every corner. Bit doesn't tend to let them get this close. Head trick shaves one off, but Grim, nice answer back with the scout. Still, players starting to move up pretty quickly into the A site. They take Some Die Young off of Graffiti. They bring Electronic up as well. Once upon a time, Floppy spamming through Monster, but that's been pretty quiet as well, so justified A stack.
I'll give Long a little bit of love. Look at Bit just standing out in the open.
Come get some.
Wow, not a care in the world. He knows he's better right now.
He's going to go extend outwards, tries to hold on to the bomb control. Last bullet, finishes Grim, and sets up Electronic to close it. So 3 kills versus the Pistols and Scout for Bit.
It's about to be a reference game here for Bit. Of course, I mean, not a most staunch competition, but it is a revenge match here.
176.
Wow, 176.
11 rounds in.
I'll take off my shoes to count that high.
How many toes do you have? I could use a couple.
Yeah.
Buys back. All right, Complexity. What else you got in the tank? Not quite the glorious game that they started the day with, but Floppy, his chance to recover that, and it gets shut out by Electronic. Support's there. We got the wall bangs coming through. Floppy with just too much to handle, and Bit right back at it. Complexity, no, he's never too far. But he keeps it fresh. Drops bomb again. Being set up nicely. SDY's got the flashbangs for days. B site, A site, doesn't matter. His assists are all over the place. And Fang finally puts an end to the beast.
So he can die.
But never for too long.
All right. So they're showing Long a little bit of love here, which is great. I think this has been underutilized for sure on these A hits, but down in numbers is just another problem. So we'll see they do off the back of this. They've been mauling the bag of dice. Fang come forward through the smoke. He does. Oh, but SDY gets to hear it all.
Yeah, he got hit by that.
I think he could have chilled in the smoke for a second.
Grim, not going to get any closer, so Halzerk looking for the 1 versus 4. Flashbangs pressuring him, 30 seconds to the clock, and he hits the first shot, critical. Goes for that bank peek, but a quick tuck from SDY keeps him out of danger. Now he's just going to rush this one outwards. Halzerk hears the run-up. No scope for you, good sir. SDY jumps up and over, gives Navi yet another.
Yes, they'll take that one. Man, they got to feel pretty good right now. It's tough that this map isn't going well, of course, for Complexity. They're about to clean house, right? They came so close to taking out Liquid, 14-11 on Vertigo at one point. Maybe even a little bit better than that. And now in the rematch on the same map versus the same team, it's not looking quite as clean. Still a few rounds potentially left in this half. And for me, I think this is the map that feels the smallest these days versus the M4s for the T side. So I think you feel pretty good. 5 rounds.
First one's good. Just suffocating every time they try to get to this B site. They're met by aggression, peaks, consistent pressure. And yet again, it gives them man advantage. Grim pulls away from Monster with Halzerk, moving that bomb around towards A.
Yeah, they might have a tempo here. I mean, Fang's about to turn the corner on long, and they just showed tons of presence towards B. They've got a lot of attention from the CT side, still waiting for Monster. And you can see that they need to retake Monster, so they re-smoke the back of it, and then they'll come and clear out the close angle. They need to get a full visual on this, so they're about to do that now. But in this moment is the time to attack for complexity if they're reading the map correctly. CT start to move in. Oh, Bit spotted maybe.
See it. Shadow advantage. Bit gets Fang. Ooh, but the nade finds him. Nice utility there from Halzerk. This time he's got an assist in Grim on this bomb site. But Halzerk gets flanked by Electronic. Cut out of it quickly. Grim, chance to line him up, but they're so ready for the peak, and it's just Navi who are way too sharp for complexity to handle this time around.
Yeah, there's something special about being, you know, that being Bit's 20th kill. Even spotted right there, you know, they have him. They're lining up the perfect shot, and they still can't kill him because he's just so accurate at the moment. What's his HSP looking like, I wonder?
Grenade damage has been immense versus Ts and CTs this round.
Yeah, you want that one. I mean, that's that peak and that chance came because they got long control, got all the way up to the corner, so that was kind of good, but just didn't get the kill itself. Another great flash. Wow, these supporting flashes for Bit have been extraordinary.
SDY, baby. He's got the utility covered. That's now confirmed. A site, B site, and connector. He can do it all.
Yeah, the worst part is he plays in con and he gets out. No one kills him even leaving.
Just disappears.
You got to find him again.
Man, vanishes like a wisp of smoke.
Yeah. And now he's setting up for a play where he can flank around long if they leave this unchecked, and they haven't been going here a lot. Some pressure on B.
Floppy trying to do his best, feign a little presence, but catching Halzerk like that outside bathrooms is big. Bomb now in the dirt as well, so JT backs up a second. Gonna let Floppy come and join him. Trying to clear Banana from this side of it.
It's kind of floating here. I mean, he doesn't really need to be watching like this, but okay.
Yeah, it's an open door for Floppy to take down a big scalp. Still, a 2 versus 5 in round 14. JT looking to get his feet onto the bomb site. Ever closer they get, and SDY and Electronic, despite Bit's inability to get one this round, it's still Navi easy.
I think he just plays like that because, like, he feels like the round's already won.
There's so many players on site anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
Do whatever the hell you want.
He's just trying to be closer to the action if possible. But that's the kind of bravado he's earned today. Again, great work there from Headtrick. And the makings of a beautiful, pristine CT side to kick off Navi's revenge.
It's definitely the kind of result that just wipes the smile off Complexity's face, and Electronic wipes 1.5 off of the monster push. Grim's got a double kill. They still have to deal with Perfecto inside water. He's gonna play inside this smoke with 2 kills. Maybe they let this slide. Oh no, they're looking for him. They tag him, and sure enough, Floppy ends it. Head trick from inside the heaven smoke, but Bit's gone unchecked. He's already up on short.
Let him disperse.
Grim getting off that bomb site's pretty big, or else you'd have Floppy and Halzerk just corralled between what's left of the CTs. Oof. Just a third. That's all they're fighting for. A third T round win if possible. Head trick, nice quick scope into Halzerk, drops down with time being limited, tries to close this distance, and Grim, he's got the audio. All he needs, point blank. The op just doesn't have time.
Wow.
No, sir.
NT.
Not enough. Beautiful shots from Head Trick to close out the half, but it is Grim with 3 kills and Complexity 3 rounds as they'll have to take to the defense.
I couldn't even see him. What the?
Let's go flames.
To be right now. Window and B.
I might.
AC failed the smoke.
Yeah,
Smoke on
focus,
the right,
focus.
we double swing. Let's
Yeah.
double swing. 3, 2, 1. AC left side.
1v1.
Bomb is not for you.
No kit, man.
Parlez français. Je regarde des faux, je regarde des faux.
J'ai le spawn.
Je regarde des faux,
Je pense qu'il va être côté appartement.
Ouais.
You can play kitchen if you want, bro.
He was 1 HP, yeah? Yeah, I'm playing kitchen.
Ziwu, 1 Can you check from time to time short and be up silly? I'm just hiding.
Yes, I'm checking something. Attends un peu avant de planter, Kevin, qu'il est ton appartement.
Je vois un spawn.
What's happening? Prends bien l'appart, Kematou.
Check again, Ilya.
Planting. He's checking.
Check
Planting. Matou, t'as une mollo. You have CT.
One CT. I can flash CT.
TTT, right side. Left side, ticket. Kevin, cache-toi.
Défaut.
Ticket last. No,
I hold
hiding
it,
ticket.
Kevin.
Pas de kit, Kevin. Il t'a vu avec la deadcam.
Peut-être pas.
Sick.
Rushing, I'm blind.
Bang.
Mola.
Okay,
Down.
low.
Dead. We can play kinda aggro on ramp, guys, we're 3.
Let's nade sandbags.
Right.
I smoked the one.
pick. I'm picking with you now.
Great
I'm
him,
dead.
nice. One off, nice.
2 ramp.
One more.
Ramp, 1 more. He's looking at me. Nice.
Nice.
Ramp.
Nice.
Wait.
Rush B.
Okay. Nice.
I bait you, Jackie. I bait you.
They're not coming.
Not. They want.
Yeah, they want.
They're in.
Dead tunnel.
They're in.
I'm flashing the door smoke. I'm going through.
Xbox.
One dead. I'm full blind.
Xbox.
2 car.
Tunnel.
Nice! Sick!
Smoked.
Smokes.
Monster.
And so we bounce back into what is, to be blunt, a beating. Navi just mopping the floor with Complexity at the moment. But it will be Complexity to switch over to that CT side. Maybe this could be the saving grace. Give us at least a little more to talk about. But for now, the only thing we can really look at is Bit and his 22 kills over the course of that first half. Electronic had his moments. Head Trick had some nice clean op shots too. But it was Bit who just dominated that upper forward A site.
Seriously. It was a beautiful game from him, and full credit to his teammates for throwing a number of excellent flashes. He was everywhere all the time.
SDY gets out from Monster, but he's very much on his own. And he's got 4 CTs busy at the moment.
That's very annoying for them. Because again, you know, when someone makes these presents, you have to physically clear it. You can throw smokes and stuff, but it's not quite enough. So that ties you up for a bit.
We see that now. They just went off of the flash to peek down Monster.
And meanwhile, it's a full A attack getting ready.
Yeah, poor Halzerk. He's got a lot coming at him. Fang and Grim will be the first 2 to scramble up, and Fang's already behind the truck, so a little more comfortable than Grim per se, but point blank, Bit connects with the Glock. SDY still floating around down towards B. Floppy, fond of those B flanks, but this time he falls victim 2-1. And it's man advantage here for Navi with that compromised backline. So JT's completely out of this retake until he can deal with SDY, if he can deal with it. In the meantime, his two other teammates start to push out. Grim, a one and done, and that flank's good for 2. SDY really ends this, and with a pistol win on top of that first half, it looks like Navi are sprinting towards the finish line.
Does feel like it, surely. And at record pace. A nice shot there on Floppy from SDY. Jumping away, hit that upward flick, and not only did he feign presence out Monster, but he re-aggressed with the B site to make sure he was a part of this exact from a distance. Oh yeah.
I love that half-second pause as well.
Made sure to aim.
And he lands it. So Grim MP9, 4 Desert Eagles. It's about all Complexity are going to be able to offer us in this CT side. Forced to the very end. Ooh, and Grim goes down nice and easy.
It's already a very good anti-eco shaping up with the long control coming in very fast. No scout there on the A site to stop him from, you know, holding shift and W at the same time. And they're going to find it open. Perfecto can't be on con duty right now. But SDY is right here to collect the eco frags. Eat him up.
Turns back and finds Fang, honed in on him. Floppy grabs the MP9 from Connector. Head trick, his chance to grab a couple, but that also gets shut down. So these pistols are doing enough to at least give themselves a slight chance of a retake, but no kit, only a smoke, and no information as to where Navi have gotten off to in these post plants. It's going to be a desperate run at this A site. And unfortunately for them, Perfecto connects it quick. 14 to Navi. And we're talking about a Navi that was mere rounds away from ending this group in 4th place. Now, they'll be staring at Liquid for a chance to come in first.
That's the Navi I remember.
Yeah, it is.
You know, this last year, Navi, they've just been winning way too much. This is more classic. Still winning, but taking longer and making it look like they're about to lose.
Taking their time, getting in the reps. But unfortunate place for Complexity. They'll come through with the deco. Save some money. Swing those hand cannons. It's the right stack at the very least. You got 5 players on this bomb site. Weird things can happen. Fang kicks it off. Electronic, that's 4. And an anti-eco ace is stolen away by Bit. Electronic does the heavy lifting. Bit gets his 24th. Mere moments away from the end.
Well, I guess the last fun thing that we can watch is now Electronic is in the running to overtake Bit in this game in terms of kills.
Damn.
But he would have to ace.
Yeah, but look at that. Blade runs right to the bullet point. Bit's got the fresh information. Have to ace. Watch Bit and Electronic literally run. Who gets to fight first?
Yes. They're so pretending to be serious right now. This is all about the kills.
They're glued to each other, and they might both die to Fang if he can find timing on the flank. Yep, sure enough. That's a way to end it in Bit's favor. Assuming that the rest of Navi can recover, and so far so good. They've got Hauser pinned into the corner. He's not alone there. Grim very much next to him. Perfecto very dangerously close to these two CTs. Bomb gets moved along, down long.
Oof.
And there's not much left of Hauser. 15 health, but now they don't know about Grim. He catches him off, goes for the second in bathrooms, and Head Trick is going to keep this round alive. A 3v5 to end Complexity's chance at continuing a CT half? Maybe. It would need the 1v2 clutch, and it looks doable. Floppy, known to be on the flank, sure enough, wrapping around bathrooms, and Head Trick plants on the appropriate side of Dicebox. He's got less health.
Oh, and the smoke to make it look like he could go long. And now you can play it from CT, clear out CT, come either back to bank or go up the other side. Plants open for him. Floppy bites on it, walks around, and Head Trick, he may have done it.
Head Trick piecing this one together. Playing with what feels like years of wisdom. tucks it in perfectly. Floppy runs out, gets double dinked, goes down, and Navi, salt in the wound, insult to injury, a 3v5 to close a dominant rematch. The exact same map, the exact same teams on the exact same day, and a total contrast in terms of results.
That was extraordinary. It's going to feel good for him. Again, a great day of CS from Hetrick, I think. I just want to keep pointing that out. Coming in from the academy. Look at how much taller everybody is than him. This must be very intimidating, and he was leading the way even when they were losing. So super big credits to him for stepping up.
He is stomping on the shoulders of giants, is Hetrick today. We hand this one down to James and Blade.
Thank you very much, guys. I've got Blade with me here, and well, Blade, I know you said you wanted to fix some mistakes. This was more than just fixing mistakes. This was domination. You must be very happy.
Yes, pretty confident game. I told you that we made too many mistakes last game, and I will just speak about this. And we tried not to anticipate the same, and basically, it was much easier to play now the same map with more confidence after we were versus G2, and we were lacking a lot of individual performance from Beat on first map on Overpass, and now he was much better. He was confident.
He looks really confident, but I also want to touch on Hetrick, right? He's come in, you don't expect him to put up symbol numbers, right? But he's doing a very good job. How have you reviewed it so far? Are you impressed?
I'm impressed in terms of his experience and in terms of his age, right? And I see a lot of mistakes, but I make a discount because I know that he, in terms of thinking, decision making, I'm not used to this. That's why I'm like, oh, not good, not good, not good.
Well, sometimes you've got to give some discounts, but you've got another game to get ready for. But before that, Blade, I've got one more question to you that's coming from the Blast.tv viewers. They can been on there, and they had a choice to ask you some questions. And they want to know, which active map would you remove to have Tuscan added instead?
Vertigo.
Vertigo. Ah, that was always an easy one. Bye-bye, Vertigo. Let's have some Tuscan.
That was an absolute sprint from the side of Navi. It may have been the same map that we saw taking place earlier on, but it could not have been a more different result. 16-3, and a more characteristic Navi, I think it's fair to say, that we were expecting coming into the full groups.
We're back from the upside down. We're back into normalcy.
Nature's
We're back
restored,
into the logic
it's
world.
healing.
Exactly. Nature is healing, as you say, Faye. Listen, we had the Navi that we expected. Way more proactive, taking charge, Bit being out there, having the multi-kills, traumatizing complexity early on in the game, and dictating the pace, which is what I expected in the first game, did it in the second.
You saw it from the get-go. You saw Bit with an MP9 going down to underground and just laying down the land. You know, we talked about the space that complexity got in the first game, the fact they were able to get control over underground toilets area, etc., and then execute simply on towards the bomb site. They weren't given any space whatsoever here by Navi, and that was a big change in the game plan coming out from them. So well done to Navi. They made complexity look like, I guess, the old complexity, which isn't necessarily a compliment, but overall, when I look back to these guys, you know, they played 2 good games of Counter-Strike. They were 1 round away against Team Liquid from actually, you know, qualifying into the final match. So despite that it ends on a bit of a rough tone right here, I still think complexity can be happy. The problem is that the fashion they lost right here, that's going to sting a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily a bad look for complexity, but then you do look at this scoreline and go, you know, Simple isn't in the mix for this team.
No.
But I love that we saw this resurgence from Bit, because you were posing it, Maniac, the overpass that we saw earlier on. They were kind of avoiding Bit in terms of sort of attacking towards his area of the map, and the space that Bit managed to get, the impact that he managed to get as well. Yeah, what we would kind of expect.
Bit had a much lower impact in the first game around. I think JT and the squad did a very good job avoiding him in that first game, and Navi made sure that they couldn't avoid Bit as well. It also speaks a lot. It speaks volume about Glaive, about the Navi squad as well. Their ability from map 1 to map 2, that being overpassed the first time and second time around, to fix out problems, fix out solutions. And I was surprised by the face that Navi shown in that first game, that they lost to complexity, but then this is a great reminder of the quality that they have, and this is the argument that I was bringing forth. Sure, Simple isn't here, the best player in the world isn't here, but there is so much depth, so much resource in that roster that this should be enough of making an easy way of complexity.
Yeah, and then it just fell a little bit flat for complexity, because you're right, they were trying to avoid Bit, even in this game as well, but every time they went through Monster, you know, they got completely shut down by Electronic and Perfect over there. We saw that a couple of times in the first couple of bar rounds. They tried to flash through, they tried tried to do it execute, they tried to do it fast, but didn't really work out for Complexity, unfortunately. So it wasn't like JT and the boys didn't try out, but nothing worked out for Navi whatsoever.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Complexity.
Yeah, I was going to say everything worked out for the side of Navi. I do just want to point towards Electronic in the equation here as well. We saw him, having just a slow start to the full groups, but he completely powered up coming into things as well. And we can't forget, he is now in-game leading for the squad too. And we were really impressed with, him taking on this role, what we saw before the break. I'm glad that he's kind of, powering, resurging back up into this.
Yeah, and it's to be expected from a man of the quality of Electronic. We have to realize that he had to play today without his superstar, and he is still relatively new to his role. And I'm sure that he had equations to solve that he had never really foreseen. Like, how the hell am I supposed to play these rounds when Simple isn't here?
Yeah.
And of course, I do want to talk about Hetrick just a little bit. He filled in gigantic boots, gigantic shoes in name Simple. I think he impressed a lot of people. I think he put out a very positive message out there, a very positive impression. Let's be clear, no one here is even considering Hetrick could replace Simple, never ever. And it's not even the point, it's way beyond the discussion. But the thing is, it's a beautiful platform for Hetrick to showcase his talent right now. The way he's playing here at Blast, going up against Complexity, going up against G2, now he's going to face Liquid. Maybe some people out there are just having a look at him. How is he playing? That kid is interesting. Maybe I want my future to have that face right here, cute little face. Maybe it's right there. He's putting himself on the map.
I just want to reiterate what I said before we even started the games today, that Hetrick, of course, he's not playing to take over Simple spot, as you explained right here, but perhaps there's a conversation to be had about Sumdai Young spot. He's currently just a stand-in until after the major, and who knows what's going to happen with Navi during the major. Of course, if they end up winning, they're most likely not going to make a roster change. Sumdai Young is going to stay, but he hasn't really had the best start, I'd say, individually speaking for Navi. The team is still thriving. They're still performing with Simple on the squad as well. Electronic playing well, but Hetrick, with the way he's been playing so far, and especially what Blade said right here, the fact that he's very mature in his decision-making, not making any mistakes. You saw in the very last round here as well, winning a 1v2 clutch where he completely outplayed Floppy in the 1v1. He's showing a lot of maturity on the server early on, and I like what I see. So maybe Sumdai Young is the one who has to watch his shoulder down the line.
Yeah, I love the fact that Blade, we know he's been talking about the fact that he's been keeping an eye on this Navi Junior squad. He knows the players really well. We've seen a hell of a lot of talent coming through that Navi Junior squad as well. And I also like that Hetrick, we haven't seen him trying to replicate that Simple style, because that was something that we were saying coming into this. You cannot try to be Simple. Don't try and kind of fill those boots in the sense of that same stylistic approach, because I like that we get to see what his kind of personality and gameplay is about.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. And I think that the positions that he is filling also means that he cannot just be hiding in the shadow, right? He's in positions where he is bound to fight. He is bound to be messy. He's bound to get muddy. And I think he kind of took the challenge by the horn, and it went fine. I just wanted to add on that Sumdai Young discussion. We have to be careful not to be blinded. Had Hetrick stood in for Sumdai Young today, maybe he would be at the bottom of the scoreboard, because these two players are having completely different games, different challenges, different tasks. So in the position that he has been put in, I think he's doing fantastic. I think he's getting the kills that he's supposed to, not giving a lot of kills away. Would it be in Sumdai Young that takes different qualities?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, just moving on to the discussion of Complexity, of course, it is the end of the line here at the groups. They do move into that third place seeding for the Elimination Gauntlet heading into next week. But as you were saying, Jacob, yeah, maybe despite the 16-3 loss from Navi, I don't think they should be too ashamed of the other games they played, obviously taking down Navi in that first game. Incredibly close versus Liquid, although they did let it slip away in those final moments. I wonder whether there was a mentality impact coming into this game as well.
Maybe, and maybe we saw the consequence of slipping that game away against Liquid into the Navi game. It's felt like a team that all of a sudden lost all that confidence they were playing with in the first couple of games. The problem is the consequences are right here in front of you, right?
Yeah.
They hit the jackpot. What do you mean they hit the jackpot? Look, they could have played against...
No, you have no idea.
True.
You have no idea. You have no idea who's coming down in that bracket, and they have to win three.
Yeah, maybe they should end the lottery.
I know.
Yeah, I think that is definitely going to be a tough challenge. Just to reiterate, obviously going into next week, that is all going to be best of threes. And yeah, where Complexity are finding themselves, that does mean one best of three loss. They are eliminated. They do move to the depths of the showdown. I don't want to throw any shade, but Complexity definitely familiar with the sort of terror of the showdown and what can happen there.
Yeah, and we come back to the discussion we had in these clutches against Liquid and the consequences, cause and consequences in Counter-Strike. You can be at one point in time in the day 14-11 up, 14-10 up. You have a clutch that could kind of push you into the top two of your group. In the end, you lose that clutch, and now you're in third position, and you have to go through the gauntlet all the way.
The problem for Complexity is they have to win 2 best-of-3 games at a minimum, maybe even 3 in order to qualify for the fall finals. And that's not likely for a new team. That's not likely for Complexity, who we talked about have not beaten a European opposition ever since February before today. So maybe hit the jackpot in terms of the bracket. The first game against OG, there's a possibility for them right here. You don't know who's going to come down into that second round of the bracket. And if we get into the last chance qualifier as well, it's going to be mixed up once more. So unfortunately for Complexity, they were so close close as we spoke about. One clutch against Nafly, they would have found themselves at least in the next stage of the bracket, perhaps even all the way up there in the bottom. So there's a long way to go now for the Americans.
Yeah, definitely an unfortunate result for Complexity and a tough task coming ahead of them as we